or have another print disability which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello, this is Cheryl Ferris, and for the next hour, I'll be reading from the May 29th issue of the Tribune Sentinel, covering Niagara County and Grand Island on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. So let's begin with Mobile Food Pantry Attracts Islanders. Cars were lined up by 8:30 a.m. on April 21st in the Grand Island Town Hall parking lot. People in the cars were waiting for the start of a mobile food pantry, held the third Thursday of the month as a drive-through event. At a tent set up in the parking lot, volunteers from the Rotary Club of Grand Island, the Salvation Army Tonawanda, Key Bank, and M&T Bank were preparing bags of food to distribute. One bag contained non-perishable food, and another bag included a tray pack of chicken thighs, a carton of eggs, small containers of grape juice, and a pound of butter. Faye Taluk, president of the Rotary Club of Grand Island, said, "We are very conscious of food insecurity in this day and age, so we coordinate with the Salvation Army to do a food pantry once a month. We have observed that we have at least 50 people who come in once a month. We have also given out information about the Neighbors Foundation, and the Salvation Army has let them know that they take care of Grand Island also. One of our Rotarians is a manager at our local M&T, which has an internal engine where they can get volunteers to help us out. Rotary has gotten the volunteers, but M&T has been wonderful in sending people over. And Chris Verhagen, who is a manager at Key Bank, is also a Rotarian. Volunteers also provide people who come to the mobile pantry with information about options to obtain food. We have also given out information about the Neighbors Foundation of Grand Island," Taluk said, noting the Salvation Army also runs a mobile food pantry at Salvation Army Tonawanda, 46 Broad Street, on the first Friday of the month. The goal of the pantries is to take care of food insecurity on Grand Island, coordinated with Key Bank, M&T, Salvation Army, and Rotary. Next month's food pantry is scheduled for June 18th from approximately 9 a.m. until supplies run out. The mobile food pantry in Tonawanda is scheduled for 10 a.m. June 5th until all supplies run out. The July pantry in Tonawanda will be held July 11th, as the first Friday of that month is a national holiday. People are asked to provide proof of address and identification to receive food donations. Lewiston Porter Middle School students beautify river region. Last week, Thursday, about 300 Lewiston Porter Middle School students participated in cleanup activities in Lewiston and Youngstown. They partnered with the Lewiston Beautification Committee, the Youngstown Garden Club, and Old Fort Niagara. The service learning day consisted of classroom instruction and a field trip. Claire Marshall, an 8th grade consultant teacher at Lewiston Porter Middle School and a member of the crew team, said, "A portion of the day we were in the building and were doing learning activities around community service and giving back to your community. And then we have this portion of the day where we're actually out and taking kids to multiple different locations to let them have an experience." In Lewiston, a group of students and teachers worked with Lewiston Beautification and were assisted by the Department of Public Works in painting lamp posts on Center Street and at Lewiston Landing, painting the fire hydrants on Center Street, mulching and painting at the International Peace Garden, and planting flowers in the wraparound lampposts at Lewiston Landing. Lewiston Beautification was thrilled to receive community help from the 8th grade class at Lewport, member Taja Fitzpatrick said. They all were enthusiastic, polite, energetic, and sure made us proud that they not only live in our community, but also support it. Stephanie Bond, a 7th and 8th grade Spanish teacher at Lewiston Porter Middle School and a crew member, said the goal was to truly experience the service learning that we find is so valuable for our students to have. It's part of our crew program that we run at the middle school, where we focus on social emotional learning. This is like our culminating day, where we have a little bit of fun, we do a little bit of service, and it kind of buttons up the end of the year for us. Other crew members include Leah Herman, Laura Komodo, Kevin Kirsch, and Annette Rayom, who oversaw the schedule on Thursday. Crew is an idea that we're all on board this ship called life, and we're all working together to move ourselves forward in whatever ways you want to imagine, socially, emotionally, with the relationships that we're building, the education of our students, all that stuff, Bond said. Marshall said, in the beginning part of the day, we had some Lions Club members, Kiwanis members, the high school leadership class came over also, and a couple of UB football players came and spoke with the kids about the importance of community service and what the value is in giving back to your community. They were able to get some feedback from people who do it consistently. She added, this is a really unique opportunity that we are able to focus in on social emotional learning and character development in school with the students. And not all schools have that. The fact that we have a 20-minute block every day where we can pause on academics and focus on how the kids are doing, how they're feeling, what their needs are, and just have a relationship with the kids, that's really the goal of the crew program, is for the teachers to be able to develop relationships with the kids that are not solely focused on grades and academics. Bond said, a team of teachers came together post-COVID 2021. We realized our students need something. We need to be able to connect with them in a different way. And we already had the advisory period, which was a 20-minute period built into our school day, and we wanted to leverage that time in a better way to be able to build a community of people in our classroom to connect to each other, the teachers to the students to the students. We leveraged the idea of restorative practices to build in community circles, so students are practicing just normal conversation and engagement with others and active listening. It's just kind of blossomed. Big thing for us was focusing on not only the experiences in the classroom, but also being able to provide them with experience outside of the classroom, whether that be service learning field trips, where we would have guest speakers come in. We've had some incredible speakers over the years. We've done in-house service projects where we've made pet toys and donated them to the animal shelter. Or coloring books for the mental health facilities and Children's Hospital, Marshall noted. It really blossomed into something beautiful over the last few years, and it's something that we're really proud to be part of at the middle school, Bond said. 3F Conservation Club Scrap Metal Drive. The Town of Porter 3F Conservation Club and Modern Disposal Services are partnering for a scrap metal drive to collect aluminum and all scrap metals for recycling. Clean out your garage, shed, or workshop. All proceeds will be donated to Pinnacle Community Services to help prevent domestic violence. Help make a difference. The event will take place from 9 a.m. to noon. Oh, now that already took place on Saturday, May 30th. So they had the scrap metal drive. Art Park. Niagara Falls National Heritage Area launching Discover Niagara app. The Niagara Falls National Heritage Area is proud to announce the upcoming launch of the Discover Niagara app. Built around the idea of Discover Niagara in one app, the free app is designed to help both visitors and residents experience everything the Niagara region has to offer in one easy-to-use platform. Available for both Apple and Android devices, the app will combine attractions, dining, outdoor adventure, history, shopping, events, transportation, and exclusive local promotions into a single experience, all without ads or paywalls. Inside the app, users can explore things to do across the region, discover local restaurants, breweries, shops, and attractions, access self-guided tours and curated itineraries, build personalized itineraries, find festivals, events, and seasonal happenings, unlock coupons, promotions, and interactive challenges, access Discover Niagara shuttle schedules and information, and learn more about local history, public art, murals, monuments, and landmarks through augmented reality experiences. One example of the app's interactive features includes regional challenges, where users can unlock rewards by exploring local businesses and attractions. For example, users who visit participating local breweries may unlock gift certificates and other incentives. The app also officially replaces the previous Discover Niagara Shuttle app, bringing all shuttle information directly into the new platform alongside the region's broader tourism and cultural offerings. Built using the Visit widget platform, the app features extensive mapping, itinerary building, and destination discovery tools designed to make exploring the Niagara region easier and more interactive. The project was led by Lewiston Digital, LLC, a creative agency based in Lewiston. 10 years ago, the Niagara Falls National Heritage Area launched the Discover Niagara Shuttle to help solve a transportation challenge for visitors and residents alike, said Sarah Capon, Executive Director of the Niagara Falls National Heritage Area. Now, 10 years later, we're building on that same mission by creating a digital tool that helps people better discover, navigate, and connect with the entire Niagara region. Whether you're visiting for the first time or have lived here your whole life, this app helps you experience Niagara in new ways. A major goal of the project is supporting local businesses and organizations by helping connect them with visitors in a way that is accessible and affordable. For many small businesses, marketing directly to tourists can be cost prohibitive, and the Discover Niagara app was designed to help showcase the region's incredible local businesses, attractions, and experiences without barriers to participation. As part of that effort, the NFNHA partnered with the Upward Niagara Chamber of Commerce to help interface with local businesses and organizations throughout the region. Over time, the Chamber will continue helping develop promotions, offers, and business participation opportunities within the app. Upward Niagara Chamber of Commerce President Amanda Hazley said, "This initiative is a tremendous opportunity for tourism in Niagara County and our local businesses. Lewiston, Youngstown, Niagara Falls, and Lockport each offer something unique to visitors, and by working together to promote the entire region, we create a stronger and more connected experience for everyone." The partnership between the Niagara Falls National Heritage Area and the Upward Niagara Chamber of Commerce is to help connect local businesses and organizations with visitors through the app. This partnership creates several additional opportunities and benefits to our chamber members. The app also deepens the storytelling experience that is central to the Niagara Falls National Heritage Area's mission. Through built-in augmented reality and location-aware features, users can receive historical information and interpretive content while exploring the region. Whether standing near a mural, statue, historic site, or landmark, users can instantly learn more about the people, places, and stories around them. The Discover Niagara app is about more than tourism, Capon added. It's about helping people connect with our communities, our small businesses, our history, and the incredible experiences that make Niagara special. The Discover Niagara app will be completely free to download and use when it releases. For more information, visit online at discoverniagara.app. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the Tribune Sentinel, covering Niagara County and Grand Island on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. And now, Old Fort Niagara at 300. Public programs to mark anniversary. 300 years ago, in June, French soldiers and tradesmen landed at the mouth of the Niagara River to establish Fort Niagara. Their mission was to construct a massive stone fortification disguised as a house. This building, known today as the French Castle, is the oldest structure in the Great Lakes Basin. To celebrate this historic milestone, Old Fort Niagara will present a unique public program June 5th to 7th. On Friday, regional school students will experience the Niagara frontier of 3 centuries ago, learning about historical building trades that went into the French castle and reliving the early 18th century when Lake Ontario was a contested frontier. Saturday is Rededication Day, as officials from the Seneca Nation, France, the U.S., and Canada gather to mark the French castle's tricentennial. The day begins with a recreation of the arrival of French engineer Gaspard Joseph Chargros de Lery and his military escort at 11 a.m. The party will arrive aboard the USS Trippe, an early 19th century sailing vessel built by the Buffalo Maritime Center. After marching into the fort, the party will begin laying out the fortifications in a hands-on military engineering demonstration. At noon, the Haudenosaunee dancers will present a demonstration of indigenous dance and stories. This program will bring to life the rich cultural traditions that predated the arrival of the French and the establishment of Fort Niagara. This will be followed at 1 p.m. by the recreation of a council between Seneca diplomats and the French commander, Captain Charles Lemoyne de Longueuil. Women's fashion of the 1720s will take center stage at 1:30 p.m. as the Dames of Vintage Experiences present French women's fashions 1720 to 60. Officials from the Seneca Nation, France, the U.S., and Canada will gather at 2 p.m. for a rededication ceremony in front of the French castle. This will be followed by an artillery salute at 3 p.m., marking 300 years of history at the mouth of the Niagara River. The program will end with a recital of early 18th century harpsichord music in the Sir William Johnson Room of the French castle. Ongoing programs during the day will include period masonry, blacksmithing and woodworking, swordsmanship, tinsmithing, gunsmithing, leatherworking, weaving, and surveying. On Sunday, the fort will present a special PowerPoint presentation titled, "It Will Serve the Purposes of a Fort Just as Well, the story behind the construction of the French castle." This talk will take place in the Old Fort Niagara Visitor Center at 1 p.m. This will be followed at 2:30 p.m. by special tours based on the popular children's book, The Gold-Laced Coat. Hourly musket demonstrations will be presented between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. Old Fort Niagara will also mark the 300th anniversary by republishing The Glorious Old Relic, The French Castle in Old Fort Niagara, by the late Brian Lee Dunnigan. This definitive history of the French castle has been out of print for decades. The work will be republished with a fresh new look by Western New York Heritage Press. The cost of the book is $25. It will be available at Old Fort Niagara's museum shop while supplies last. In addition, the brewers at Brickyard Brewing Company are offering a beer to commemorate 300 years of the French castle. This approachable lager is brewed with French-grown barley and hops. Crisp and clean malt is balanced by an herbal, slightly floral hop character. Lagered to perfection just down the road from the French castle, this special brew can be purchased at Brickyard, Domino's Lewiston Tops, and additional outlets across the region. French engineer Gaspard Joseph Chargros de Lery and 100 soldiers and artisans arrived at the mouth of the Niagara River on June 8th, 1726. They immediately began construction of a 96 by 48-foot stone building known today as the French Castle. The building included barracks space for about 30 soldiers, officers' quarters, a trade room, a bakery, a gunpowder magazine, and a chapel. Construction was completed in October 1727. Over the years, the castle served as barracks, officers' quarters, and housing for civilian employees of the U.S. Army. The building was restored between 1927 and 1934 to represent its 1726 appearance. Today, the French castle serves as a heart of Old Fort Niagara. Old Fort Niagara is located in Youngstown. Visit www.oldfortniagara.org for more information. And now, from the editorial page, Clerk's Corner by Tamara Burns. What to do with excess trash and leaves. Did you know that Modern Disposal and the town of Lewiston have arranged to provide free dumping privileges for town and village residents at Modern Landfill Community Drop-Off Center, located at Harold and Pletcher Road? Residents are allowed to drop off trash, recyclables, most electronics, tires, and bulky items once per day, weekdays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., and the first Saturday of each month from 7 a.m. to noon. A permit needs to be obtained from the clerk's office at no cost. Proof of residency will be required. The Highway Department will have its final leaf pickup the week of June 1st. Any leaves put out after the week of June 1st will need to be bagged and put out with your trash. We will resume regular leaf pickup in the fall. The Lewiston Garden Festival will be from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., June 20th to 21st. Participants can view beautiful open gardens, which are free to the public, and visit vendors on Center Street who have unique garden items and plants you cannot find anywhere else. Attendees can learn something new at Speakers Series and enter a creative container garden contest. All present will enjoy everything garden all in one place. New York State Free Fishing Days will be June 27th to 28th. This is a great opportunity to try fishing for the first time or take the family fishing. If you notice a street light is out or flickering, please contact the town clerk's office at 716-754-8213, extension 235 or 236, or enter the information on the town website, www.townoflewiston.newyork.gov, under the comment drop-down. The following information is necessary in order to report this to National Grid: pole number, closest house address, and closest street intersection to the pole. Says Lily will challenge status quo as advocate and defender, by Harold S. Hopkins. Well, it's deja vu all over again. Due to changes in New York State law, the Republican Party primary for Lewiston Town Supervisor will be held Tuesday, June 23rd at your regular polling location. Thus, the rematch of taxpayer advocate and defender Ed Lilly versus status quo Steve Broderick. So, just what happened since last June's Republican Party primary? After Lilly beat Broderick, the Lewiston Town Republican Committee endorsed Broderick to run on the Conservative Party line in the general election. Additionally, the town committee assisted Broderick to raise thousands of dollars to defeat Lilly, who pays for all of his own campaign expenses. I find it unethical for the Republican Committee, after losing the primary, to endorse the loser. But hey, it's Niagara County. Instead of addressing infrastructure like roads and sewers, status quo Steve is spending your taxpayer dollars on parks and pavilions. How is that working out? No kayak or canoe launch, no fishing pier, and an incomplete second pavilion. Broderick's pet projects cost the taxpayers enough, but their benefits remain unrealized. Now we hear about multiple pickleball courts and another pavilion to be built on state property, the Art Park Plateau, with town resources. This Broderick project may displace various youth football players and cheerleaders who use that space for practice. Incompetence abounds. It is time for some real change. Vote Ed Lilly for Lewiston Town Supervisor in the Republican primary on Tuesday, June 23rd. And now Piper extends thanks for Memorial Day ceremony. And this is written by Russ Piper, the Village of Lewiston historian and the cemetery gatekeeper. Hello, everyone. This past Sunday, May 24th, my Veterans Memorial Monument was dedicated to the service and sacrifice of our Lewiston veterans and marked the 250th birthday of our country. This was the completion of a project I started 2 years ago. I would like to express my heartfelt appreciation to those who participated in this historic event. First and foremost, American Legion Portage Post 1465 for the primary funding of the monument. Jim Farchione of Niagara Monument Works, who donated the remaining cost for the larger monument to accommodate all the veterans' names with space to add more in the future. Also Kelly, the office manager, and Jake, who installed the pieces for each project over the years. They have always worked with me to ensure I had the best quality pieces for my various projects over the years. The Reverend Susan M. Kepi for the emotional prayers and blessings. Newfane American Legion Post 818 for providing the military salute and honor guard. Carl, who played taps. And to Downriver VFW Post 7487 for working with me and providing an honor guard for all of my events. Anton Schwartzmuller as the Union soldier who raised the colors. Claude Worth Carnes as the widow Reverend Mrs. Smith, and Tim Henderson as Josiah Triton, who placed the memorial wreaths. My deepest appreciation to Tom Collister, curator of the HAL Museum, for always being willing to help with research. The staff of the village clerk's office, Shannon, Donna, and Stephanie, who are always there to assist me with whatever needs I may have. Anthony Mang, superintendent of the DPW, for always being willing to assist with the cemetery grounds. Most of all, I am deeply indebted to Mayor Ann Welch for all of her help and encouragement in expanding the museum, as well as donating items to the museum collection. And most of all, apart from helping to ensure my projects came to life, always being there for me when I ask for guidance as to whatever project I'm involved with. Over the past almost 8 years, under her direction, I've been able to do more for the village historically than any of the previous historians before me. I offer my most sincere, heartfelt appreciation. Also, to those who donated to my project, thank you. Until my next project, with my deepest appreciation, I remain. Russ Piper, Village of Lewis historian. New Youngstown board members getting started. The first Village of Youngstown Board of Trustees meeting after the election was short, as Mayor Rob Reisman congratulated Mayor-elect Mike D'Addario on his victory. Trustee-elect Colleen Somerville said after the meeting, "What happens now is the new board will meet and set an organizational meeting for the village. We're going to welcome the public to our meetings. We're going to welcome their voice," she said. Somerville also said D'Addario will determine when the board meetings are. I'm sure he'll get input from all Board of Trustee members and probably the different department heads that attend, because it has to be a good night for everybody. I don't see it changing, but I'm not sure. Somerville said the organizational meeting will be given to the clerk's office and published in the paper. During the meeting, Reisman read a text message whose source he would not disclose. Before I do the announcements, I received a text message from one of our new individuals on the board, and that message read, "Thank you for all that you guys have done. You've done a lot in this village to improve it and to leave it in a good spot. and I believe we have. And I thank you for that text message. I'm not going to mention your name. I didn't ask permission, but I'm sure you guys will do that same. So I just want to put that out there, and I thank you for that. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the Tribune Sentinel, covering Niagara County and Grand Island on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. And now from Lifestyles, Samantha Fish on new music, loving life, and chicken wings. Vocalist and ace guitarist returns to Buffalo for May 31st show at Asbury Hall. For every Taylor Swift, Beyonce, or Ed Sheeran, talent whose work sells in the millions and whose videos are seen by the billions, there are thousands of musicians who will never make it big. Though they have the talent, they don't have that cliched but true lightning in a bottle that will carry their music to the masses. There's another option, and it's often the lane specifically chosen by select artists, becoming a working musician. This path involves mastering a craft, singing, playing an instrument, performing on stage, and touring venues known for more for performances than pyrotechnics. Though she has achieved a national reputation for musical mastery, as well as Grammy nominations and gigs with the likes of the Rolling Stones, Samantha Fish is very much a working musician. Constantly touring, training, and always looking for ways in which she can connect with her listeners, Fish is clearly more concerned with craft than celebrity. As a result, her work is notably improving from project to project, culminating in a well-rounded musical umami bomb called Paper Doll. The blues rock album released in 2025 and captured the essence of Fish's live show in a recorded package. Taking that idea one step further, Fish is releasing Paper Doll Live on June 12th. We include more songs than what was on Paper Doll, so it's not just a live record of Paper Doll, it's pretty much the tour that we're doing right now, the Paper Doll Tour, Fish said. She'll perform new songs when headlining a May 31st concert at Asbury Hall in Buffalo. I've been wanting to do a live record for years, and it's kind of been brought to my attention by fans that that's what they want, and I've been asked for it for a long time, Fish said. Now, in terms of growth on this album, Fish said, I see it improving as far as I want to see it improve. But the thing with music is that it's subjective. Some people's favorite record was that first piece of junk that I put out, Live Bait. They don't like anything beyond. But that's okay, because that's their opinion, and this one's mine. There's a lot of jobs where it's like the way you're good at it as one very specific way, she said. But with music, it's kind of like it can be a bunch of different things. You know, there's technical prowess, there's taste, there's genre collaboration, things you can mix together. What strikes one person might not strike another. These days, Fish is spending more and more time on the road. She sings a lot about relationships because, frankly, it's difficult forging ties when you're also trying to forge a career. It requires a lot of effort to just be present, to be in the moment. Now imagine trying to be present and be in the moment and also try to keep a foot in some kind of situation in another location altogether, Fish said. I'm not saying that this is just unique to me. A lot of people work away from their home, away from their families, away from their loved ones, and you figure out a way to make it work. But there is a balance that you have to strike and try to uphold and stay connected. Buffalo has become a regular stop for Fish. The reason being, of course, your wings, she joked. I'm not partial to your football team. A native of Kansas City, Missouri, Fish is a Chiefs fan. I feel like there's so much passion up there for the Buffalo Bills. You guys are rabid, and it's scary. Laughs. When you're dealing with passionate people, they make for great music fans, Fish added. So I can knock the football thing all I want, but it's nice to go and perform for people who put themselves into everything. Of course, I love the fans up there. I'm glad we're not coming when there's 12 feet of snow on the ground. That'll be a nice change for once. I usually come up there in like December. There's just something charming that I really like about Buffalo. I haven't spent enough accumulative time there to get like a vibe for every quadrant of the city or anything, but the areas that I've been able to walk around, you've got a lot of cool, cozy old bars, and it feels like what I think it would feel like. When I think about Buffalo in my head, there's this, in a way, almost a welcoming vibe, like coming from out of the snow and have a drink in this cool, cozy little dive bar. As for those things, flats are great if you know how to eat them, Fish said. Somebody taught me this maneuver that actually, you're not just eating around the two bones. But I'm still a drum girl. I mean, it's the easiest. That's the one everybody goes for right away. I feel like flats are complicated and messy. Drums, you can get in, get out. And now garden dedicated to longtime library trustee Rotarian Richard Earn. Richard Dick Earn was remembered for his dedication to community service as a member of the Grand Island Rotary Club, as well as his years as a Grand Island Memorial Library trustee. On May 13th, the library hosted the dedication of the Richard Earn Memorial Reading Garden, along with a ribbon cutting. The garden took 3 years to create, said Library Director Bridget Heinz. Phase 1 was installed in April 2024. It included seating, a notice board, and a little free library, which was made possible from an Earth Day grant received through the Air and Waste Management Association. Thank you, Jill Banaszak, who got that grant for us. Phase 2, completed in August 2025, includes the hardscape, the garden bed expansion, and flat-top boulders for additional natural seating. We plan to keep track of usage and make future minor improvements as needed. Earn was a library trustee from 1980 to 2022. During his 42-year tenure, he was involved in the construction of the current library building, Heinz. That was in 1989. Dick was also involved with the Association of Contract Library Trustees, also known as ACT. He served as president of ACT for a number of years. Thank you for coming out to celebrate Dick Earn and the garden. My time working with him was short, about 4 years. I have to say we collaborated well on all things library. The thing I remember most about Dick was his way of asking the questions that everyone else was afraid to ask, including myself. That's because he wanted to get as much information as possible in order to make the right decision. The reading garden fulfills a goal that Dick had of extending the useful library space to include a comfortable outdoor seating area for our patrons to enjoy. Through fundraising, which included 2 chicken barbecues, bake sales run by the Friends of the Grand Island Memorial Library in conjunction with the book sales, grant, and aid funding provided by Assemblyman Angelo Morinello's office, and donations from our patrons, this space has become a reality. Earn has also remembered for his dedication to the Grand Island Rotary Club. Rotarian Sherry Miller said, Richard Dick Earn devoted 44 years to Rotary after joining our club in December of 1978. A 3-time club president and district governor, Dick represented Western New York and nearby Canada with humility, warmth, and deep commitment to service above self. At his core, Dick believed in helping others. He was passionate about Rotary's Early ACT program, encouraging young students to learn responsibility and the value of community service. His dedication to the Rotary Foundation earned him recognition as a 9-time Paul Harris Fellow. Dick never waited to be asked when something needed to be done, whether cleaning along Beaver Island Parkway, delivering Meals on Wheels, ringing the bell on Christmas, supporting Salvation Army programs, assisting Habitat for Humanity, welcoming an Afghan refugee family, or helping me with exchange students in the Open World program. He simply showed up again and again with generosity and compassion. Alongside his devotion to temple and family, service to others became the defining work of his life. Ern's son, Rabbi Matthew Ern, also talked about his father's commitment to service to others, as well as the meaning of memory to him. "You remembered my dad," he said. "You remembered the time and energy he gave to Rotary. You remembered his devotion to this library, its staff, and its sacred purpose. You remembered his commitment to service above self." Memory, Ern said, calls us to remember the gift found within these library walls: diverse ideas, open discussion, knowledge, and truth. The library embodies a promise at the heart of our nation. It calls us to appreciate the privilege and responsibility of citizenship. It reminds us that democracy is not only defended on the battlefield, but sustained in places like this, where people gather to learn, to think, to question, and to remember. Memory is not just a tool for recognition. It's also a source from which we find purpose. We come here looking to learn, but we leave with memories of children's story time, the kind librarian who assists us, or a great conversation about a book with a new friend we met on a bench at the Richard Ern Reading Garden. In addition to the speakers, a citation signed by Morinello to honor Ern was presented by Robert Radijak, Morinello's liaison. Miller and Heinz expressed gratitude for the individuals and groups who made the Reading Garden a reality. We also express heartfelt thanks to our partners, the Grand Island Memorial Library Board of Trustees, the Cinderella Island Garden Club, the town of Grand Island, and especially Master Gardener Peggy Kopman, Miller said. Heinz offered special thanks to the Grand Island Rotary Club, the Cinderella Isle Garden Club, the town of Grand Island, the Friends of the Grand Island Memorial Library, Morinello, the Reading Garden Committee, the Grand Island Memorial Board of Trustees, and the Grand Island community. "Thank you for remembering my dad," Matthew Ern said. "Thank you for preserving not just his memory, but the memory of this island and this country. May this new garden be a place where many more memories are made." 10-mile garage sale bigger than ever. The 34th annual 10-mile garage sale, Niagara County's largest, will take place June 4th to 7th in Lewiston, Porter, Ransomville, Sanborn, Wilson, Youngstown, and for the very first time, the town of Niagara. You're invited to attend an affordable, region-wide shopping spree where unique sellers are paired with eager buyers. Find items from sofas to jewelry, kids' toys to sporting goods, and treasured products not available online. The Lewiston Police Department reminds participants that with the onset of another 10-mile garage sale this year, it is important to remember that the most important concern should always be the safety and well-being of others. While the event can be exciting, it can also create dangerous situations. People not familiar with the area will be looking for locations and may stop suddenly or turn unexpectedly to find a sale or parking. Pedestrians can also cross roadways unsafely and may come out from in between vehicles. Sometimes the close proximity of the locations can magnify this problem. Realizing that events such as this create both foot and pedestrian traffic, it is imperative that everyone takes extra care to ensure the safety of our residents and visitors. So, whether you are a pedestrian or operating a vehicle, please take the extra time to slow down, obey traffic laws, and look out for one another. We will have extra patrols out during the event to help ensure everyone's safety. Please remember, no item or sale is worth not having any of you with us at the end of the day. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the Tribune Sentinel, covering Niagara County and Grand Island on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. And now Memorial Day 2026. American experiment has survived not by accident, but by deliberate, selfless actions of ordinary men and women who stepped forward to do extraordinary things. And this is by Colonel J.E. Cuda Butterfield, USAF, Commander 9, 4th Operations Group, Niagara Falls Air Reserve Station. Editor's note: the following is a speech presented Monday by Colonel Butterfield as part of the Memorial Day ceremony in Lewiston. To the civic leaders of Lewiston, the dedicated veterans of VFW Downriver Post 7487, Gold Star families, and the citizens of this beautiful, historic town, good afternoon. It is a profound honor to stand before you today. As a 28-year member of the United States Air Force, I wear this uniform with the full understanding that the fabric of our military and the freedom of our nation is woven together by the sacrifices of those who came before us. Today, we gather not to celebrate, but to remember. We gather at Academy Park in the shadow of the Circle of Honor to pay our deepest respects to the men and women who laid their lives upon the altar of freedom. Memorial Day is a day of heavy hearts, but it is also a day of immense gratitude. Today, we speak for those who no longer have a voice. This year, our gathering carries a unique and monumental weight. We are marking the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. 2.5 centuries ago, in the sweltering heat of a Philadelphia summer, a group of visionaries signed a document that changed the course of human history. They declared loudly, all people are created equal, endowed with unalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But a declaration is just words on paper. It was the American service member who made those words a reality. For 250 years, the American experiment has survived not by accident, but by the deliberate, selfless actions of ordinary men and women who stepped forward to do extraordinary things. Every year of those 2.5 centuries was bought and paid for. It was paid for on the frozen grounds of Valley Forge, in the trenches of France, on the beaches of Normandy, in the jungles of Vietnam, Iraqi cities, and in the mountains of Afghanistan. As an airman, I think of the skies over Europe, the perilous missions over the Pacific, and the dynamic overwatch provided in the modern era. We fly, we fight, and we win. But we never forget that our dominance in the air is built upon the foundation of joint forces, soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, Coast Guardsmen, and Guardians, many of whom never made it home. The American Joint Force mindset was not created in a Pentagon office. Here in Lewiston, you understand this deeply. This town is not merely a spectator to American military doctrine and history. You are a vital part of it. When we reflect on the 250 years of our nation's history, we cannot forget the winter of 1813, right here on this ground. During the War of 1812, Lewiston was a frontier under siege. When British forces crossed the river, the local militia and Tuscarora warriors stood their ground. Together, they fought to protect their homes, their families, and this young nation. Men like Adjutant Thomas Poe, who gave his life for the Niagara frontier, and the sons of Captain Horatio Jones, who perished defending this very soil. Lewiston burned, but it was not broken. You rebuilt. And in every generation since, when the nation called, the sons and daughters of Lewiston answered. When you walk down Center Street today or drive through the village, you see the hometown hero banners fluttering in the wind. Those are not just pictures. They are not just names. They were sons, brothers, fathers, and friends. They were high school students who walked the same streets we walk today. We remember Army Specialist 4th Class Frederick Frank Cadile, who laid down his life in December 1965 in Vietnam. We remember Marine Corps Lance Corporal Stanton Richard Dyke, who made the ultimate sacrifice in February 1968. We remember every name etched into the stones at the Circle of Honor. We remember the names listed on county rolls from World War I, World War II, Korea, and the global war on terror. They left the safety of Western New York to face unimaginable hardships. They were deprived of the chance to grow old, to raise families, to sit on their porches and watch the Niagara River flow by. They gave up all their tomorrows so that we could have today. It is easy, especially on a long weekend in the beginning of summer, to lose sight of what this day means. The barbecues, the parades, the time with family, those are beautiful things. In fact, those are the exact things our fallen died to protect, the simple, peaceful American way of life. But before we enjoy the peace they secured, we must fulfill our obligation to them. Our obligation is memory. A person dies twice, once when they take their final breath, and again when their name is spoken for the last time. As long as the community of Lewiston gathers here at Academy Park, as long as VFW Post 7487 continues its vital work, and as long as we tell their stories, our fallen will never truly die. They live on in us. But our obligation does not end with memory. Our second obligation is action. How do we honor a debt that can never be repaid? How do we justify the sacrifice of American heroes through 250 years? We honor them by being citizens worthy of their sacrifice. We actively participate in the republic they guarded. We treat each other with the dignity and respect that forms the bedrock of our American experiment. We serve our communities just as they served our country. 250 years is a long time for a republic to endure. In the grand sweep of human history, it is a rare and precious thing. We are the inheritors of a legacy forged in courage and sealed in blood. As I look out at this community today, I am filled with hope. I know that the spirit of those who fought in 1812, the courage of those who stormed the beaches of Normandy, and the valor of men like Frederick, Cadell, and Stanton Dyke still beats in the heart of this town. Let us leave here today with a renewed commitment to the nation they loved so dearly. Let us carry their memory not as a burden, but as a guiding light for the next 250 years of American history. May God bless the fallen. May He comfort the Gold Star families who bear the heaviest burden of our freedom. May God bless the town of Lewiston, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you. And now, flag football game dedicated to memory of Leah Mayer. Dedicating the May 6th flag football game to Leah Mayer was something that player Kennedy Ulrich asked her team to do. Leah died after being struck by a car at the intersection of Broadway and Beaver Island Parkway in September 2024. She was 13 years old. I felt like it was the right thing to do, Kennedy said of the game, which featured Grand Island High School's flag football team against the Niagara Wheatfield team. It's terrible what happened. I feel like the community needs to do more about it. I feel like more people need to do stuff like I'm doing. Personally, it was pretty easy to do. The girls were so on board with it. We all know Leah's older sister, who was a member of the team, so it was pretty good for them. We have a lot of younger people on the team, and they don't know a lot about it. I texted in our group chat, and I said, "Hey, guys, we're going to do this." I didn't ask if it was okay. I just straight up and said, "We're doing this." Leah's grandfather, Bill Daniels, said about the dedication to the game, "This is a compassionate game for Leah by the girls' football team. It means to me that there's some community support. I'm trying to get New York State to make some changes where Leah was killed. I'm having trouble with the town board getting a resolution. I've been working with an organization called Go Bike Buffalo, an advocacy group for traffic safety. They said I've got to get local support. When Leah was killed, her brother was playing JV football, and they dedicated a game to Leah. He's now playing varsity football and basketball. He's a sophomore. He's 6'2". He's a good kid, still growing. It shows that the community has some support and some concern. Leah's older sister is now in college studying nursing, Daniels said. Leah was a dancer and an artist, Daniels said. She didn't live long enough to play football. She was my youngest. Every Saturday she'd say, "Grandpa, you coming over?" She liked to go shopping with a passion. We'd go to Savers, and I put her on a budget, and we'd go to Barnes & Noble's to get books every Saturday. Then we'd go out to lunch. The only thing we want is Leah coming through the door, and it's not going to happen. Daniels asked for community support for changes to the intersection where Leah was killed. There is a petition, he said. I want people to get involved, to show up at town board meetings. They meet on the first and third Mondays of each month. I want them to ask people who you elected to serve you to do something to advance traffic safety, especially near the elementary school. I've been there pretty much by myself. My brother came once for moral support, but pretty much I've been there alone. It would be great if people would show up to support our young people on Grand Island. The family sponsored a public input hearing on September 6th, and Karen Carr Keefe wrote an article on it. It was on the same day that Zonta was having their distribution of mums. Pete Marston, the town supervisor, was there. I had an article in the Buffalo News on January 31st. Find the petition at https://p/install-a-traffic-light-and-crossing-signals- at Broadway and Beaver Island Parkway. And that is a story by Alice Gerard. You've been listening to a reading of articles and features from the May 29th issue of the Tribune Sentinel, covering Niagara County and Grand Island. We read from the Tribune Sentinel every Saturday at 4 p.m. Your reader has been Cheryl Ferris. Thank you for listening.
Coming up next on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, we have the Lockport Union Sun and Journal. Following that at 6 o'clock is the Jamestown Post Journal. And at 7 o'clock, we have the Niagara Falls Review. Stay with us for these readings and more. If you or people you know shop at any of the Dash's supermarkets, please save Dash's register tapes for radio reading. Our agency receives $2 for every $100 in Dash's register tapes. Radio reading has raised thousands of dollars so far. Anyone can drop off their Dash's tapes to the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service at 1199 Harlem Road, Cheektowaga, between William and Clinton Streets. Or Dash's tapes can be mailed to the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service at 1199 Harlem Road, Cheektowaga, New York, 14227. Any questions on Dash's tapes for radio reading? Call us at 716-821-5555, and thanks for caring. The following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability,